Hey guys, today we have a very special guest, the founder and CEO of Binance and one of the most influential figures in the crypto space, CZ. Thank you so much for joining the interview. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me here, Irma. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
The world is currently suffering from a new financial crisis. What are your thoughts on it? How will this affect the crypto industry?
I think it's going to have some really interesting impacts. I think basically most of the traditional production has stopped, right? So a lot of people are at home. Some people are still working, but mostly on online industries that does not require physical presence, or industries which are in essential services. Most of the other industries have stopped. So I think that's going to have a pretty negative impact on the production. So I think we will, no matter how much money we print, I think we're going to go into a recession. And as a result, governments are printing a large amount of money. And so all of these things are actually, I think it's honestly, it's negative for the overall economy, but it's actually positive for crypto. Because the government had very heavy-handed interventions, printing lots of money. So all of these things are actually what Bitcoin is made for. So I think actually it's going to have a very positive impact to the cryptocurrency economy. So we're seeing that already. We're seeing trading volumes are larger. More people are involved. We're seeing new user registrations increasing very significantly, and trading volumes are high and the revenues are high. So I think we're just seeing that the data shows that people are coming into the industry now. So I think overall, it's unfortunate. I think it's bad for the overall economy, but it's actually good for crypto. So we're kind of in a lucky spot.
Yeah, and even John Rowling is now talking about Bitcoin, which is pretty interesting, right?
Yes. So now we got a very famous author with 14 million followers talking about crypto. So that's good. Yeah, I think the next Harry Potter probably will have some crypto in it.
Can you tell us about the most significant recent Binance's achievement? What was the most important news piece from Binance in your opinion?
Oof, there's quite a lot. So Binance is more of a decentralized team. Everyone's working on different things, and then when they release something, I find out. Most of them don't talk to me that often anyway. So I think on top of my head, I think futures is a big one. The Binance Futures platform reached #1 in the world and achieved all-time high trading volumes of over $10 billion per 24 hours. So I think that's a pretty big achievement. We released a mining pool which hit top 10 among all mining pools in the world just in less than a month. Trust Wallet, our decentralized wallet app, is now having 1 million active monthly users. So that's also quite strong. We recently added 42 major fiat currency support on Binance.com. So now you can use different currencies, including Russian rubles, to buy cryptocurrencies on Binance.com directly, and through multiple channels. There's multiple payment channels. There's also P2P. We have one of the largest BNB burns in history, $52 million worth of BNB burned for Q1. So that's a really strong result. We acquired BNB. We acquired CMC. So that's one of the largest traffic sites in this industry. We partner with Brave browser. I don't know if you use Brave browser. If you use it, you see the Binance widget on the site all the time, which is really cool. We also released the white paper for Binance Smart Chain. So that's a new parallel chain for Binance chain that's going to come out in a couple of weeks. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not sure which one is the most significant, but we'll see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the CoinMarketCap acquisition has been a loud topic recently. What led to the decision and what are plans for that project?
I think it's so basically it's just a very valuable platform in the industry. So Binance provides access to liquidity. So if you want to trade, you want to buy and sell, Binance is one of the better places to do it. We have the largest volumes and liquidity, which basically means you get the better price. So I think we got the trading part covered relatively well. There are other players in the industry as well, which is fine. And then we want to provide, CoinMarketCap provides access to information in crypto, so access to data. So I think that's a piece that we did not have before, and having that is really, really valuable. And I also think CoinMarketCap, the founder, Brandon, he ran it for 7 years. The business model is actually very, they didn't focus on the business model. They just focus on the user experience. So they got a large number of users, people use it. But I think the team's grown to a point where we felt we can help it grow further. So that's really the main reason for the acquisition. So yeah, there's a lot of confusions, etc. Because yes, we are an exchange and CoinMarketCap ranks exchanges, but we want to stay neutral. Binance is already the biggest exchange by most metrics, matrices, even before the acquisition. So we don't really need special favors from CoinMarketCap to help us. So both the exchange and CoinMarketCap will continue to grow relatively independently. I'm confident they can both compete independently and be the best platform in their respective sectors. So I think we just want to help make the product better and help give more funding to help grow the product.
And you also launched Binance DEXS last year. Are you satisfied with that project? Will it be your main focus in the years to come?
Right. Okay. So yes. So I think I'm satisfied with the project from a team delivery perspective. I'm not super satisfied with the output, the number of traders on Binance DEXS. So I'll just be very honest about it. But the number of traders on DEXS I thought would be higher. I thought last year maybe a time where DEXS technology we can make. So the Binance DEXS, the user interface, the user experience is better than most other DEXs out there. But apparently, I think the industry is just not ready for a DEXS just yet. It does not mean that DEXS is not important. It doesn't mean that's my main focus, so I don't spend all of my time on it. But I'm confident, I'm certain that we will continue to invest in the Binance DEXS project for many years to come. So we'll continue to launch Binance Smart Chain, add more features, add smart contracts. I do believe that decentralized exchanges are the future. It may not be next month, it may not be next year, but it may be 3 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later. It may be 20 years later, but we're ready for it. So I just want us to be ready for it if that happens. So we'll continue to invest in that, and we will offer both choices. So this only is used by a smaller number of people for Binance DEXS. But that's okay. The technology it is for advanced users that want to hold their own cryptocurrencies, etc. And it's also good now for guys who complain that, hey, don't hold your coin, your keys, your funds. So look, use Binance DEXS. We offer that option. So that's also good. So I think from a delivery perspective, I think the team did a really good job. But I think we're just a little bit early on the market timing. So, but we'll continue to invest in it. We'll keep it going keep iterating it for many years to come.
So, why do you think people might be not ready for DEXS exchanges yet?
So, I have a guess, which I'm not sure is correct or not. Today, the numbers speak that most people are not able or do not want to hold coins themselves. I think the trickiest part, I think most hardware wallets are actually pretty secure now. But even hardware wallets have one significant requirement for the user, which is to safely store the backup phrase, right? So you have a seed phrase, which you need to store a backup, and you can't lose it. You can't let other people steal it. So you can't store it on a computer. If you store it in the cloud, unencrypted, hackers are gonna have a pretty easy time stealing it. You got to have a way to pass to your kid if you pass away, etc. So that has to be an inheritance plan. And depending on your relationship with your kid, you may not want them to have it today because you may not want your kid to run away with all your funds today. So just that one piece may already make self-custody less favorable to most users. And centralized exchanges are the user experience is much more natural to most users today. Most users are used to using a password, email password, log into a website, more security fine, 2FA, YubiKey. Users are very used to that. And when there's a problem, they can call someone. Today, if you want to do your encryption, back up your USB stick, give it to multiple copies around different parts of the world, prevent against flooding, all of these things are not natural to most people. I would say 99% of the people, they're not capable of securely backing up their backup seed and encrypt it in a very secure way. So I think that's basically the main reason. From a DEX perspective, once you can securely save your backup seed, you can actually, the trading experience on DEX is actually not bad at all. It's 1 second blocks, so every second there's a match. It's actually not that bad. But for whatever reason, well, I guess for a number of reasons, people obviously prefer centralized exchanges more today. But I think give it enough time, the technology will improve, and there will be better ways to safely back up your keys so that you can take care of all these issues we talked about. And people will probably use DEXs more.
How do you list tokens on Binance? What are the criteria?
Okay, so there's a couple of different things that we go by. The main thing that we go by is really the main thing we go by is really number of users. So if you have a token that you have a community that we can clearly see that there's a large number of users, and or like either in your community, in your Telegram group, in your Facebook follow page, Twitter followers, or just people using your application, your app, or your token holders. So there's a number of ways to judge how many users you have. If you have a large number of users, then your token coin has utility. A lot of people use it, so it has useful value. So that's the most simple and easiest way to evaluate a project. It's just to get the number of users data on number of users. If you don't have a large number of users, then it gets trickier. Most likely you are in an earlier stage project. And then yes, we do look at project team, product market fit, white papers, etc. But that gets very subjective. So today we don't list that many coins at early stages because Binance is now a relatively large platform. We don't want to take the risk of taking super early stage projects. So number of users is really the most simple way. Of course, there's a number of other factors we consider. But look, if you're a good project, if you have like, I don't know, 200,000 or 1 million users, I think today we'll list you for sure. Yeah.
Recently, I spoke with Max Keiser, a famous financial journalist. Maybe you know of him?
Heard of him, yes.
Yeah. So Mr. Keiser said that he thinks all altcoins are exit scams. What do you think about it?
Okay, I think that's an overgeneralization. When you generalize something like everything's bad, then that's usually not a good. That's usually incorrect by definition. I guess he's a Bitcoin maximalist, which I'm not. So I think Bitcoin's great. I'm very pro Bitcoin. But I think in a freedom-driven world, in a decentralized world, we would want to promote freedom. And if we promote freedom, then in the freedom world, people are free to do what they want. I don't like in the freedom world. I encourage people not to criticize other people, but more focus on what you do to contribute value yourself. I think in a freedom-driven world, people can create tokens, and people will create tokens. You can create a token for yourself, for your project, for your company, for your team, for your country, for your province. So even you can create a token for some things. So I think there will be millions of tokens. Again, not all of them. Most of them are probably not very good, especially in the early days. But there will be people who do create tokens that have value. So Ethereum obviously have value. BNB has value. So there's always there are people who. So another different analogy is, should the internet just be run by one company? No, right? So there's multiple companies in the internet space that create value. So if you want an ecosystem, then if we just want to limit everyone to one currency, everything else is bad. I don't think that holds. So there are now blockchain allows a very easy way for anyone to create a token, and as long as the token is used in the right way and there's value associated to it, then it's a good token. So I think by definition, not all tokens are bad. So I would disagree with them on that. So I have a more, I think we got to take a more realistic view. A large number of tokens, because they're new projects, they will fail. But it's like the internet startup scene, right? So many companies will fail, but a few will succeed. And the few, so you cannot say that other than one company, everyone else is bad. So I kind of, I kind of agree with that.
What about your future plans? What should we expect from Binance? Any new projects?
That's also a hard one. We have lots of different projects going on at any given time. So I try not to disclose all of them because anytime I say something, then people's all the next day is like, when, is it released yet? Is it released yet? So there's a lot of so we don't like to make so many pre-announcements, but a couple of things are we're adding more and more fiat on ramps. That's not a secret anymore. So we're adding more support for fiat. We are adding more products to the futures platform as well. So futures right now we have a perpetual contract that's very popular, but we're looking to add more different contract types and more products on there, and enhancing the mobile experience, etc. We're adding options, leverage tokens, etc. We're continuing to invest in many other different ecosystem players, different wallets, different fiat channels, etc. There's one interesting project which we publicly sort of disclosed. We're working on a Binance card, which is a credit card that you can just swipe and spend your crypto directly. So this way, that's a direct fiat off-ramp. This way you don't have to sort of say, okay, I gotta sell my Bitcoin first and then withdraw it, convert it to put it in my bank account and then spend it. Yeah. So now if you're a hardcore crypto enthusiast, you can just stay in crypto. So the minute when you want to spend money, just swipe your card, and the merchant gets fiat because we do the conversion for them. So this way, the consumer can stay in crypto all they want, and the merchant stay in fiat all they want. We bridge the two. So, and I think having those kind of off ramps will allow people to hold crypto more. Then I will have no reason to sell Bitcoin. So there's a few of those things we're working on, and the card is one of the first off ramps we will offer. So we'll see how that goes.
This is great. I will try. Let's speak about you. What projects or people in the crypto field do you respect the most?
It's dangerous for me to say that. I think I respect a lot of people in the crypto industry. They all have flaws. Most of them have flaws. So I think I respect Vitalik. I respect a lot of the top 10 project founders. Vitalik has some flaws as well. He's often misspeak and he hates centralized exchanges, which is fine. I think he doesn't recognize the value of what centralized exchanges bring to this industry with a bridge. Without a bridge, there's no crypto. But there's a lot of other very less famous founders as well, which I respect. But I don't really want to name names. If I name one, I got to name a whole bunch. So it gets a little bit tricky. Yeah. But I think there are a lot of hardworking people in this industry who deserve the respect. So I think that's also why I'm very confident in this industry. So it's not just the blockchain technology, it's not just Bitcoin. It's that I see a very strong community. And there are fraud, there are scammers, but there are really hardworking, good people in this industry.
Mm-hmm. And what is the biggest challenge you've ever faced in connection with your company and job?
Ooh, okay. Actually, yeah. There is a clear one, which is right after our ICO. So we did our ICO in 2017, from June 20th something to July 2nd, and then July 14th we launched the platform, we launched the exchange, and then we listed BNB on the first day. And the BNB price, the token price dropped from the ICO price, all the way down to 65%-ish. So and it stayed there for about 2.5 weeks. So stayed there for about 15, 16 days. And we tried everything. We tried to release more features, do more podcasts, tried everything, tried to list more coins, but the price just wasn't coming up. It was during that time I felt a lot of pressure. Because basically thousands of people just invested in our coin, and they invested in our project. They invested in us basically. So they put their trust on the line. They put their funds on the line, and now they're all losing money. So I felt so that was a period where I felt a lot of pressure. It's like, okay, we got to make this work. We got to make this work. So and the team was also under pressure as well. We were basically working for 2 months nonstop already at that point. But luckily, through some through a sequence of events, we got back up after 2.5 weeks or so, and then we never dipped below the ICO price. In fact, the price went up about 10x in about the end of the third week. So when it drops really quickly, and when it goes up also very quickly. It's very volatile at that time. So that was by far the most stressful time, I would say, of Binance, or probably in my life, to be honest. Because the way I live my life is I usually don't owe anybody anything. So I never really had big loans taken out. I don't owe people money. I don't owe people favors that I cannot repay, etc. So that period was really tough for me, because now there's a lot of people who put their trust in us, and they're losing money. So afterwards, after we went up 10x and the price was still fluctuating, that pressure kind of went away, because there are fluctuations in trading. I can't guarantee everyone makes money, because then the price will go in a straight line. That's not possible. So today we're about 150, 170x the ICO price. So we're pretty comfortable. There's still fluctuations. If you're a bad trader, you lose money. I always recommend people to hold only. So that was by far the most high pressure period in my life.
This is a very inspiring story. Thanks for sharing. What would you personally change in the community if you could?
Ooh, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of stuff we could change. I think based on what I said before, I think in a freedom-driven community, people are free to do whatever they want, and people very often mistake this for people are free to criticize everyone else that they want. I think that's just not super productive. I think basically, look, unless somebody is hurting you, we should just complain less about others and just focus on doing more ourselves. So just build more value. So if I could change something, I would just like mute all the whiners or the complainers in the community and have them work on something productive. But it's human nature. People like to complain is much easier, it's much more satisfying, but it is what it is. It's fine. But if you ask me, like if I could have unlimited power to change the community, that's what I would recommend. But I don't really worry about that too much based on that principle. I don't complain about others too much. Just focus on what I do.
Okay. I have the last question, and I ask everyone I have a chance to speak with during my interviews about it. So, what will the Bitcoin price be at the end of 2020?
Oh, I think that's a hard one. But I think I don't want to make price predictions on a short term, because that would be seen as fluctuations. But I'm always very bullish on this industry. So I think the price of Bitcoin and most of the strong cryptocurrencies will be quite. I think the direction is up. I don't want this to be a financial advice, but I think short term there's going to be a lot of fluctuations. But long term, I think I'm very confident in this industry. I think we probably have 100x, 1,000x to grow. So if Bitcoin's 10,000 today, in a couple of years, Bitcoin can be 100,000, 1 million or more. So I think that's all possible. When it's going to happen, I'm not sure. End of 2020 is pretty close. I think but we should be able to see some effects of some of the macro changes in the industry. Quantitative easing with the Fed printing a lot of money and every other country keeping up with it. So now there's a lot more fiat. Fiat supply is probably by most reasonable measures is probably doubled or tripled already by the circulating supply. So I think we should see price of everything increase, not just Bitcoin. I mean, price of rice and food is probably going to increase. And then also Bitcoin halved, right? So Bitcoin, the new Bitcoins coming up to market is now much less than before. It's only 50% compared to before. So I think all of those things should be very positive for Bitcoin. Logic says that price should go up. But again, when you're in a trading market, the logic doesn't always apply in short term. So end of 2020 is like a few months away. It's kind of mid-term in terms of trading goals. So I think those effects will probably kick in, and we should see those effects in our industry.
Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rima. It's good to speak to you.
Guys, I hope you liked this video. If so, smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment. It will help us a lot. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.